It is election day. The polls close in less than an hour. So if you haven't voted yet, you still have time to drop off your ballot or visit your polling place. It is, however, too late to drop that ballot in the mail.
Thank you for voting.
As voters decide tonight, this year's ballot is relatively short for most of us. The only statewide measures that everyone is voting on are Propositions LL and MM.
Yeah, both of those are about funding free school meals for all kids in Colorado, regardless of financial need. Your political reporter Sean Boyd joins us now. And Sean, these meals costing more than expected.
Millions of dollars more. When voters approved healthy school meals for all in 2022, they were told it would cover not only breakfast and lunch for every kid, but higher wages for cafeteria staff and more Colorado-grown produce in schools. That didn't happen. The entire program was expected to cost about $100 million a year. On the high end, it cost $138 million last school year and is expected to cost $145 million this year and $155 million next year. And that's just for the meals. Funding for the program comes from a tax paid by higher income earners. In 2022, voters raised taxes $884 a year on average for anyone making at least $300,000. That generated more money than expected. Initiative LL asked voters if the state can keep the extra money, about $12 million, while Initiative MM raises taxes again on the same Coloradans. They'll pay another $486 a year on average to generate an additional $95 million, some of which could be used for food stamps for low-income Coloradans. So, will these measures pass? Let's ask our expert analysts, Republican Dick Wadhams, Democrat Mike Dino. So, Dick, supporters say this helps remove the stigma associated with free and reduced lunch. Opponents say, why are we paying for free meals for kids who can afford it? This really impacts a relatively small number of taxpayers, about 200,000. Right. So, do you think a lot of voters are going to say, heck, doesn't impact me, I'm going to vote for it?
I hope it fails, and I'm not sure it will, but it should fail. Sean, this is the latest boondoggle by the state of Colorado. They misrepresented how much it was going to cost. It's another way to undermine TABOR, our Taxpayer Bill of Rights. And you cannot tell me that this won't go way beyond the budget calculations that they say it's going to have. And so, and in terms of why should rich kids and upper middle income kids get free lunches on the backs of taxpayers? The other thing, small businesses who file as individuals, they're going to get stung by this. So if you own a small business and you make over $300,000, guess what? You're going to get stung, and you're not wealthy, and you're still going to get stung.
You know, Mike, the importance of food stamps certainly has been front and center recently, given the government shutdown. Don't you think that buoys these?
Yeah, it does. I hope it passes. I think food security is a big issue, whether the federal government shut down and SNAP assistance is not available, but it isn't right now, and it is on the front and center of everybody's mind. And I think they realize they're contributing to food pantries, and they're helping out in their communities and providing food. And so I think it's a good way to get voters out to vote for this.
So these are the only two statewide measures on the ballot, but there are lots of local issues. Yeah. So I want to hear from both of you. Which local issue are you following particularly closely tonight, and why?
Well, I'm a Denver citizen, so definitely vibrant Denver, 2A through E, almost $950 million for a lot of things, certainly road infrastructure, parks and recreation, health care, home affordability, a lot of things that I think Mike Johnston wants to try to accomplish in the next 6 years. This bond is only for 6 years. Most bonds are 10 years. So if you look at it for 6 years, that's 2 years of this term that he's in and 4 years of his second term. So this is a big deal for him politically.
Oh, it is. I think it is a referendum on him. Absolutely. We'll see which passes, which fails, since, you know, there are multiple measures here. Dick?
Aurora, the Aurora City Council races. It is amazing that a lot of left-wing groups spent extravagantly in Aurora, and they elected a majority liberal council. And then it is now a conservative council led by a conservative mayor. They have done wonders in terms of crime and homelessness, tackling the auto theft problem when the state was not. And it's a real success story. And I think it's interesting, Sean, that in a state that is dominated by liberal Democrats and a lot of Democratic socialists, there's this enclave of very successful conservative governance. And I think and they're going to be reelected tonight.
Yeah, and Kelly Worthman following that tonight for us. Michael, Karen, we could toss it back to you, but aren't we lucky to have Dick and Mike with us tonight? Talk about all these important issues.
We certainly are. Sean, Dick, and Mike, thank you, and we will be checking back in with you all throughout the evening.
Yeah, we want to talk right now about what they were just hitting on. What is happening in Aurora? Tonight's election has a potential to reshape city leadership in Aurora.
Voters in Colorado's third largest city are deciding who should fill the 5 city council seats that are up for grabs. Let's bring in Kelly Worthman, who is your reporter in Aurora. And Kelly, there are a lot of candidates on the ballot.
A dozen of them, a dozen candidates are vying for those 5 open positions. 3 races are for individual wards, 1, 2, and 3, and the other 2 races are for at-large positions. And that's where we're going to start. Councilwoman at-large Danielle Jurinsky is hoping to keep her position, as is Amsalu Kasa, who was appointed to council earlier this year after a councilperson resigned. 3 other candidates, though, are hoping to bring fresh faces to those open seats. And speaking of fresh faces, the Ward 1 race is stacked with them. 3 new council hopefuls are vying to represent Northwest Aurora, and incumbent council member Crystal Murillo chose not to run for another term. And then on the northeast side, Ward 2, Councilman Steve Sundberg is looking to keep his council position for another term. And finally, Ward 3, which encompasses a large part of West Aurora. Former Councilwoman Marcia Berzins is looking to make her return and unseat the incumbent Robert Medina. Now, with Aurora's city council makeup potentially shifting as there are a number of newcomers in the running, tonight's results could shape key decisions on development, economic development, of course, public safety, as well as housing. Voters still have time to decide, as we've been saying, with those polls closing in under an hour. Karen.
Yeah, not too much time. All right, Kelly, thank you. The latest update from the Secretary of State's office shows nearly 1.3 million Coloradans have voted. There are over 4 million active voters in our state. If you haven't dropped off that ballot, you have just a little bit of time left.